Hi, guys.
And Curtis Clemens, never give up. Never give up, Curtis. Cocaine Curtis, I think that's what Tim named him. Welcome, everyone, to the Wednesday night live show. We are back for another 2-hour show. Here's Timmy. Timmy's he's having hockey withdrawal. So anybody out there that was watching the hockey game, Tim, what team are we rooting for during the?
We're rooting for the Washington Capitals.
Okay, so if you have Capital updates, please let us know.
We're okay. The game just started, so
okay, all right. No updates necessary. Tim is good to go. Michelle, any hockey teams you want to root for today?
No, I don't watch it. No,
you don't watch it. Florida does have a hockey team. Correct.
Do we? I don't even know.
They have two. They have two that I know about. Florida, they have the Panthers and they have the Lightning, Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers.
Yep.
Really?
Two there.
I even watch news and I didn't know that.
Jim, she could be like 4 blocks from the stadium and she wouldn't care. You're like, yeah, there's this place. People
and ironically, both the teams are playing each other this year in the playoffs.
Oh,
so Tampa Bay is playing the Florida Panthers, right?
That could cause conflict in the Florida belt, Tim.
It's not that I'm against it. I just don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
you know, growing up in New Orleans, I mean, you know,
hockey,
really,
well,
you know,
hockey,
but
I grew up a hockey fan. Living in South Philly, I was a Flyers fan forever, and then we moved here. And I have told the story many times. We unloaded the moving truck, and I was grabbing our hockey sticks, and my brother had the net and our other stuff. And the kids here in Modesto, California, thought they were weapons. They thought we were from the jungle. They thought boomerang. I was like, no, it's a hockey stick. You never heard of hockey? What is wrong with you people? Look, we got the Syracuse Blazers. I don't know. Never heard of them. Maybe Tim knows.
What's that?
Collegiate team, maybe a collegiate team, the Syracuse Blazers.
Oh no, I'm not. I don't follow college anything.
Yeah.
No.
But
college wasn't good to me, John. So
college. I got 2 months in. And then I realized I could make more money working elsewhere. And I made the stupidest decision of my life and left and went to work and stayed at that job for about 4 years making, now this is 1987, 88, making $21.50 an hour, which was unheard of. So, so I was like, college, who needs college? Screw college.
Right.
And then 3-4 years later, that all closed up. And Johnny, not a good time to make that kind of money at that age. In the 80s,
right.
I spent it all.
Of course.
Hey, yeah. Well, we don't. Your dad and your mom like save your money, buy a house. No. Partying, buying cars, drugs, records, beer. I'll send you a link. Send me a link. Sticky N. I don't know what link you want. Who is that? Send me a link. Who is that?
I'm looking. Stinky N. Send 3. I don't know.
A link to what? We need to know what link you need. What are we going to talk about today? There's not a lot to talk about, guys. It's very quiet and very scary. It's a very quiet, scary time for the vape industry. We're not winning very many battles. We're getting thinned out throughout the nation's lawsuits and new bills and registry crap going on everywhere. This is the time. What is that old saying? It's quiet before the storm. Is that saying? Am I right on that one, Tim?
Time to be ever vigilant. I don't know. There's just a lot of things are sort of slinking around and kind of moving through. Hard to fight them all. They divide and conquer, and they thin out the resource to be able to really kind of battle.
wants the link. How do we know you're a good person? No, I'm kidding. How would I send you the link? We don't mind having a new face on the show. So how would I send you a link? You let us know. And who are you? I don't recognize the face. I could be wrong. I can't see
recognize it. I don't recognize
I don't either.
But let's see. Send me the link. All right. Yeah, I mean, this is the opportunity that I think everyone needs to focus and pay attention to what's going on locally and in your state. I think this is a time that you get together. If you have a vape advocacy group in those areas, I think it's time you guys sit down and try to figure out what is going on. And just unite and try to do your best to fight these. I saw can't be at all these. We don't have lawyers. A lot of these places are sneaking city council meetings in the middle of the night. All kinds of nonsense is going on. So it's like Tim said, it's time that you guys pay attention and work. Try to be there at those city council meetings. Try to get a group together, get out there, share your stories, because it's a weird time. I mean, seriously, I spent about 3 hours today trying to find something to talk about on here, and there's no news. And
but that may be a good thing. That may be good because after it's been cleared out, and there's a lot of new people, and people are looking at it that are up high now, and so. Or they should be, I mean, that's why they did a lot of that is they cleared out all the tobacco people. So let's get it right.
It just seems it's a weird time, and I think it's time that everybody work together. Try to find an advocacy group in your area. If there isn't one there, I know it sounds crazy, but start one, right, Tim? Start one.
Right.
Exactly.
Not that hard.
Let me do this. Okay, Timmy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wait a minute. I can't do that to Michelle. Michelle, how's your weekend going?
Thanks for thinking of me. It's going good.
I know. I save.
It's going really good, actually. I've been out in the sun. I haven't gotten burned yet, so and I don't use sunscreen. I know. I don't want to hear it, but I don't use sunscreen. I'm allergic to a lot of it, so it's just not worth it.
Allergic to sunscreen? Mm-hmm. That might be the first time I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, they have yellow number 5 in it, which is one reason why I like John F. K. I am extremely allergic to yellow number 5, and it's in everything that we eat and drink, including white, snow white things. It's in shampoo, it's in conditioners, it's in soaps, it's in, sunscreen, it's in
crazy.
Everything. So it's really good to hear him talk. If y'all don't know, somebody like me who's allergic to a yellow or a red, I'm allergic to red 40. You're going to find it in all kinds of things, but it limits what I can eat and what I can't eat and what I can use. And it's so bad. It's even my doctor keeps up with how many yellow pills I have yellow pills in it.
Wow.
Yellow number 5 in it, it's not pleasant. I get big hives. It's crazy. It's a big deal. It's not like it's little, something you can get over. No. And the more I put in my body, the worse the hives get, no matter what I put on the hives to make them go away or take pills. So
stinky end. Don't even bother trying. I will not be sending you a link. You're too young for the show, buddy. All right. All right. I did a little research.
Oops. But anyway, so it's been really good to hear him talk about that. And I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I found a heart rock, and I collect heart rocks. And if you don't know what a heart rock is, it's a heart that it's a rock that looks like a heart.
It's what my heart is like right now, like a rock. No, I'm kidding.
I have heart rocks all over. There's a couple behind me, but I don't think you can see them. But I have them all over the house. I've been collecting them since I was a kid. Yeah, wherever they come, I stop and I look down, and there's a heart rock. So, yeah. So it's been and every time I see one, it's like a little, I say, kiss from the universe. So I get happy. Little things make me happy.
Nice. Timmy.
Yes.
How's your week going?
Actually, it's been a pretty kind of standard week for me, and not a whole lot going on. Just to be fair. Well, we had a holiday that kind of ran through the weekend, so we didn't really do too much. I did go to a brand new brewery. So what we try to do is kind of spread out and go to some of the local breweries around the area. And so we went to a new one in Braselton. I always get it wrong. The town is Braselton.
Yeah.
If you're raised by a mother who was a school teacher for 40 years, and it looks like Braselton, but it's Braselton. Anyway, the place was the Braselton Brewery, and they put it into like an old barn.
Oh, nice!
Cool. They restored an old barn. Had a real large kind of deck patio outside area, like one in the back, one in the front. They had a handful of their own microbrews that they brew in house. Had a menagerie of things. Food, a whole lot. It was a cool place. So we went with a friend of ours, and she took her kids, and there was a place for the kids to play. So that's the one thing that's kind of cool about breweries is they're kid and animal friendly. The vast majority of the time. So at least you can, you don't have to find a babysitter for the kids. And there's usually like 10 other kids running around at the same time. So the kids inevitably find someone to play with. So we did that. That was a fun Saturday out. And then Sunday, we headed off to the wonderful town of Dahlonega, Georgia, to enjoy a kind of an Easter gathering with some friends. And so there was, 30 or 40 of us up there on the mountain in Dahlonega, and the kids got to do an Easter egg hunt. And we sat around, and it was like a potluck. Everybody brought a little something to eat. And just kind of chilled out in the mountains and killed a bottle of wine and went back home. And so I have to say, other than being surrounded by work, that's pretty much been it. And watching hockey, of course. And I've determined the reason why it's so quiet in Congress right now is because all of them are hockey fans. And they're at home watching the game.
Yeah, right.
That could be.
They don't care about legislation. They only care about the Stanley Cup playoffs right now.
Yeah, they all they care about is hockey, or using trying to get free tickets to a hockey game. Maybe I don't know about them.
I don't even want to know what the ticket price is for a couple tickets to a playoff game. I've never been to a playoff game.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. So we don't have a hockey team here in Atlanta anymore, and I'm not saying I would convert. They used to have the Thrashers years ago, then they got shipped out of town, so there's no professional team here. But I hear that Atlanta has put a bid in on an NHL expansion team. I think they're looking to try to bring one on in 2028, which there's 3 cities I think vying for an expansion team. So I'm not sure what will materialize with that, but if it happens, the word on the street is that they're going to construct an 18,000 seat stadium or hockey rink kind of thing for professional teams in Forsyth County, which is just down the road. So if Atlanta gets a professional hockey team, then that's good for me, because then that might mean the Capitals will have to come here and play, and then I'll get to go to some games. So we'll see.
Nice. I had a nice, quiet Easter. It's always fun seeing the kids enjoy it. That's what it's all about for us. I mean, it's just, the food is there. We eat. I keep telling my daughter every year, because this is what happens at Easter at either my house or my aunt's house or my cousin's house. Everybody gets the eggs together, the fake ones, and they put like candy in them or money in them, and then they hide them. The problem is every year I say the same thing. Hope, count them. Count how many eggs you put out there, because every year, like even this year, we found some from 2 years ago.
Yeah, somebody was really good at hiding eggs.
Exactly. So I even told her this year, I said, Hope, count the eggs, so you know how many is out there, and then you can count them when the kids bring them back in and they go through them. You can kind of quickly go through the baskets and see how many eggs, and this way hey, there's still 3 out there, there's still 2 out there, And it was funny because my cousin Steve found one, and it was 2 years old. It was one that was been sitting around for 2 years that was well hidden. But yes, people out there, count your eggs. When you put them out there and you hide them, count them. If you had 30 of them, make sure 30 show back up. That's all. Because otherwise, I'd hate to open up an Easter egg that's 3 years old. Probably the way our food is preserved, that chocolate is probably still good in that egg. So, it's covered in plastic. It's in its own, it's in containers. So, but that was it. Had a fun Easter. And just enjoying the 80+ degree weather here. And we got a little breeze. So it's been nice. It's been nice having some nice weather back and actually not having to put on a sweatshirt or a jacket at night. So again, I work nights. So when I go on break, it's like 1:30 in the morning. So it's either freezing cold or just perfect. And the last couple of nights have been just perfect. No jacket, no sweatshirt. Yeah, it's been nice. I can't wait to start wearing shorts to work again. That's my thing, Timmy's spoiled, he gets up in the morning, he's got his pajamas on, and his,
my work outfit right here.
Yeah, and then he puts when in his he has a corporate meeting, he's got his little white shirt with his tie, but underneath it's just
pulls it over his head, right?
It's boxers, and
what you see is what you get. Right here on a Teams meeting. I will wear regular clothes if I have to travel and go to an office, but I do burn the torch, and so on every Teams meeting, and nobody says a damn thing.
Yeah, good job.
Nobody says a damn thing. So.
They're afraid of you.
Yeah, I'm intimidating apparently.
Yeah, you're intimidating. And Michael, yes, I think you're talking about the eggs, and that's smart. Make that list. I mean, you don't want to find an Easter egg from 3 years ago with M&Ms in it that have molded together as one large M&M. Timmy.
Yes.
I think you know what time it is.
I do know what time it is.
It's time.
And I cleverly hid some Easter eggs around the chat room to see, if people could find them. So all y'all just start looking around your chairs, check your desks.
I think he is related to Taylor Swift.
I put some nice, interesting surprises inside, and one of them, I'll give you a clue. One of the items inside the egg is, hey everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday Night Live Show. Let's say hello to some wonderful people in the chat. I was laughing about the video that you played before we went live, John, and all I could think about is
share that one on this show.
Cave drawings. That's another story for another time, folks. Don't ask, we won't tell. Let's see who's here in the chat with us tonight. You know what, John? You know who I haven't seen in the last 3.5 comments?
Yeah.
Is Curtis Legalize It Clemens is in the house. Curtis Clemens. Good to see you, brother. How are you? And I meant that in a current form.
It was the CCC, remember?
He's CCC. Curtis Cocaine Clemens.
Cocaine.
You just need, you know what? You need a hockey jersey, Curtis, with cocaine on the back. Number one. Cocaine's number one.
Hey, he would be an enforcer. He would be an enforcer on the cocaine.
He would be an enforcer. He just roll out to the ice and put a couple lines down, and then everybody would get screwed over because they couldn't see him because they were on the ice.
He does. He could be a hockey player, though.
Yeah, he could. Curtis, he could be Curtis could be a hockey player. Who else we got in here? We got Mallory, do it your damn self. Gates in the house. Good to see you, Mallory. Always wonderful to see you. I know who else we got in here. We got Robert, not on a billboard lawyer, is in the house. Good to see you, Robert. Welcome to the show. We got Steve, Emoji King Tottenham in the house. Great to see you, Steve. How are you? We got Peggy. I don't need a middle name at E6 Source because I already got one.
Meow.
Good to see you, Peggy. How are you? Wonderful to see
you
always. I know. I got the resident James Pirate in here. James R is in the house. I saw his name pop up a little bit earlier. We got Jeff Danny Boy. Oh, Danny Boy. I don't know. I don't know any. I know it's an Irish song. It
is an Irish song.
That's about the only words out of the song I know is "Oh, Danny Boy." That's it. I don't know anything else. Who else we got here? I know I'm waiting for a microwave oven to show up here eventually. I know it. I know he will. We had Stinky N, everybody. Stinky N was in the house for
I
a
banned him.
long while. You know what, everybody? I just pay it forward. Send Stinky a link. I don't care what link it is.
A link to something.
Exactly. A link to something. Who else we got in the house? I'm scrolling. Keep them doggies scrolling. We got Michael Redfern in the house. Good to see you, Michael Redfern. How are you, sir? Always wonderful to see you. What else? Who else we got? I already said James. I don't want to leave it. That's it. That's the only people speaking. We got 17 in the chat. If you got something to talk about vaping wise, I did see the comment from Robert. He said Grim Green said on his show that Miss Loomer had a lot to say about vaping.
Yeah,
she took a new tack. Now, if you know sailing terms, she took a new tack. When you tack, you're changing direction to catch the wind. She's against vapes that are from China. Well, I mean, yeah,
she must be against them.
I don't know. She doesn't care for him.
Maybe.
Well, anyway, there's a lot of people that don't care.
Is that incentive for us to start a U.S. disposable?
Well, I think that would be logical. Keep it. Keep it in house. Why outsource everything from China? But we know why all the work shifts to China, because it's cheap manufacturing.
Cheap.
Yeah. So everybody goes.
They got that little birdie when you enter their warehouse. It goes cheap. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna get myself in trouble with the Chinese people now. No, we know what's going on. Yeah, I was thinking about this before we started the show, and last night actually, it hit me as like I started thinking like, when's the last time I can remember? And I'm 57. Tim, I will be 57. Tim will be 57. Michelle's age is non-disclosed. We cannot discuss
21.
That. She's 21. I was going to go 31 just so to be safe. Michelle's just old enough to get alcohol, guys. Just old enough to get alcohol.
She just broke through this year.
She gets carded. She still gets carded.
No, they don't even care anymore.
They don't care. Like, hey, what do you want? Beer, alcohol? Take it. I don't care. No, I was thinking, it's like all of my life, like, what have I ever fought for this hard for? And I couldn't think of anything other than I was a little bit. I won't say I was young, but not a little naive when Congress went after the music industry. I mean, but I was a little bit upset, like, okay, do I have to go get my mother now to buy this? Or, I was. I mean, is that for you the same, Tim? I mean, like the last thing you remember really fighting this hard for?
I don't know that I actually really even fought on, if you're talking about the PMRC and we're going back to our youth when we were teenagers and that stuff was, I mean, I think we grumbled a lot and groaned a lot because we were kind of like wondering what the big stink was about, because, I mean, just like with vaping, with that whole scenario, there was a lot of fallacy and falsehoods being pushed about, how, the music that we were listening to was quote unquote satanic. It was driving us to suicide and all these things when in reality, it was exactly the opposite. So, I mean, if we could draw on past lessons, that PMRC approach was very much like how vaping was today. And it had me thinking too, John, for a second. I mean, if throw out, Class A, or I guess whatever they call that, Class A drugs and things of that nature that they've already made illegal. But when you see these campaigns like this, like the PMRC, take vaping, for instance, things of that nature, has anyone ever seen any of this particular legislation save thousands and millions of kids? Has anyone ever seen the results of these actions to the point where we go, you know what? We were so blind. I am so glad they put ratings on records, because no 8-year-old in elementary school is ever going to say a cuss word. You know what I mean? Like we're so
doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's not changing a damn thing. So it just sort of
it isn't. I mean, I don't want, if you want to compare that industry with this one, I mean, I can guarantee you, and Tim probably can as well, I still was able to get my CDs and my tapes. I can tell you that. I didn't have to really go see mom to get a tape, because it had a an adult warning label on it. It didn't stop me from getting it. I don't think it even really stopped Tower Records. Sorry, Tower. Do they even exist anymore? I don't know. So I guess
Towers was around for a long time. They may not have been so nationally prominent.
Right,
they
right.
were probably a little bit more on the West Coast when they first got started. But but I mean, look at advancement. I mean, advancement in technology and everything else is always sort of, provided a methodology for people to get around some of the limitations and getting their hands on music. And I mean, for gosh sakes, I mean, you could copy music for the most part. You could copy a tape, you could record a record to tape. You could,
and we did
share it around. So, I mean, it never really impacted anyone. I mean, I can kind of understand why there were some concerns from the parental perspective. They don't want their kids exposed to certain imagery or language, things of that nature. But I think you have to be objective, and I just think that they, like with vaping, it's the same thing. It's like they want to try to take it away exponentially, which they kind of take it too far.
Well, that's what it feels. I mean, they're similar. I mean, what's going on? I mean, it was. Would you say it was? It went as far as trying to eliminate that music altogether, like they're doing with vaping? It wasn't that far.
No.
What do you mean?
I mean, as far as as what was going on at that present time with the music. I mean, it wasn't about them getting rid of these bands, just making it more difficult.
Well, right. They were trying to put ratings on records so that
we'll take a rating system.
Honestly, I was a little older than that, so I didn't come in at that to where I ever had to be, checked. But I never had anybody. I don't remember seeing anybody actually being checked just for buying a CD or an album or something. Were you guys ever checked?
I don't recall ever being challenged.
I didn't.
Buying. Most of it started around the later 80s.
Mm-hmm. And by then I was.
I mean, so there was stuff that was starting to come out that some might say was a little
risque,
questionable. What was the one rap group that really kind of?
Oh, NWA.
No, not NWA.
Oh, I know who you're talking
like
about.
All their lyrics were pretty much dirty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
I can't
about.
remember for the life of me.
Somebody in the chat knows.
Yeah, somebody in the chat.
But I mean, but it was just it just dovetailed into these areas where people who thought they knew what they were talking about. Two Live Crew, thank you, Mallory.
Two Live Crew,
Me so horny. Me so horny.
No, I'm not gonna sing that.
I had the record, by the way. But it dovetailed.
Of course you do, Tim.
Well, that's because just like vaping, I was young. They turned it into forbidden fruit. Now you got to go figure what this whole thing is about, because I'm not supposed to listen to it. I'm not supposed to hear
I'm more intrigued.
What it's all about. I can't.
And Curtis, you probably still owe Columbia Records money. You probably still owe them money. They're looking for you. Be careful. You got those 12 CDs for a penny. Yeah. I'm sure they're still looking for Curtis Cocaine Clemens somewhere out there. Yeah, but I mean, that's where my mind went this morning, is just kind of sitting there, kind of trying to think about, like, the last time in my life I was this involved in anything, as far as advocacy and maybe local stuff that intrigued me, changes to local stuff that was upsetting to me, like the water and, changing the way our water is going to be filtered and what they were going to put in it. But I don't think I've really ever involved myself as much as I have in this industry with anything else in my life, other than maybe music. That was about it. But I mean, the same for you. I mean, Michelle, I mean, is there anything? I know you're only 21 years old, but you know, you lived a long life. So is there anything that
an old soul?
Yeah, an old soul. She's 21, but she's got an old soul.
I got an old soul. The only thing I could think of is back when I was young. I mean, you know, I had 2 and 3 jobs at once. You know, so I was money driven. But no, I mean, as far as any kind of, you know, rules or anything, no. I mean, I worked hard to break them when I was young.
Yeah. Well, it got me thinking too.
You know?
Yeah, it got me thinking too. Is, you know, we're fighting an older generation as well that's in Congress that have some professionalism in advocacy when it comes to issues with, you know, some of these congressmen have you know, have protested the Vietnam War. They're
true. That's true. Yeah.
It's true. They're professionals, man, and they're going up against let's be honest, a pretty young industry, and in the early stages, a pretty young ownership into manufacturing and developing of e-liquids that didn't have a lawyer's background or a business background. They knew they had a great product that worked for them. They were excited about it. They wanted to share that product out there with the world and help people quit smoking. But let's be honest, they didn't have any business experience. They didn't have any understanding of the laws and regulations or even how to fight a lot of this stuff. So I think that was a key issue with us in the very, very beginning of it. And so we started getting organizations involved and advocacy groups starting to build up. And CASA, and at one point in time, there were so many advocacy groups that were scattered. I remember them all kind of coming in on Instagram. Instagram and on the ZampleBox family pages, just seeing all these different groups. And I was excited. I was like, okay, maybe we have a fight here. But I think, you know, with each year, it seemed like it made it more and more difficult. They started to spread out a little bit, and it made it more difficult for us to kind of keep track of what's going on. We started having small towns all across the United States starting to try to ban not just flavors, but vaping altogether in the early stages of it. We agreed to a term which I think we still should have fought with, and that was, you know, back in 2012 or 2016, agreeing to consider vaping a tobacco product. And I think, you know, we were what's that old saying? We were
naive.
Not naive, but we were kind of placed back up against the wall or whatever. I think it was like either or.
Yeah, we either went with a pharmacy product or we went with tobacco. And I mean, either one was like, you know, a catch-22.
We're getting screwed. Yeah.
I mean, screwed. You know, so but we wanted it legal. And they said, they told us, from what I understand, is they told us that if we went with the tobacco, it was a no-brainer because obviously it was better. And back then, everybody agreed it was better. Until they got it, and then they decided, no.
Yeah, it just opened up all the doors. Yeah, it opened up all the doors, and I think, I mean, do you, Michelle? Do you think they knew that was coming, agreeing to those terms? But did you feel like I felt like they were more prepared for that, but it didn't seem like they were. This to me
was totally. And I don't mind saying this. For me, it was totally a pre-thought out plan made by the government.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were five steps ahead of us.
It was, and they knew exactly what they were going to do as soon as they had us on the hook. You know, and that's just the way I feel. And unfortunately, you know, we were kind of caught behind. We didn't have another backup plan, and I think we should have fought for a independent type of nicotine, you know, as an independent group, but we didn't know better, or we didn't have a way to, whatever the deal was. I wasn't involved with any of that.
Yeah.
But, you know, unfortunately we got our caught with our pants down on that one, I think, personally.
Yeah. But when I mean, I mean, I guess not really understanding the levity of it all going into it. Like you said, you kind of, it's kind of like, hey, little boy, little girl, here's some candy kind of thing. When you're going to hang the carrot out there.
The carrot.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you're going to expect people to have to make some concessions. And I think that's been that resonate. Well, first of all, hey, Don Shirako Ayako, good to see you there. Good to see you there, sir. And Microwave Nuke It. Actually, I think that's Microwave's
Nuke It?
new Nuke It is going to be his new middle name. I'm not going to do the leave you on one leave you on 1 second. It's going to be Microwave Nuke It Oven. No, but I think that resonates across the vaping industry. Well, first of all, I don't think any of us really kind of had any inkling that it was going to get to that point anyway. Maybe we should have had a little insight to like going, well, hey, we got this thing that's that's gut punching this other thing that the government really kind of hangs their hat on, in order to kind of drive the cycle of money through the system.
Right.
Maybe we should have read the writing on the wall at that time. So I don't know that. I think we kind of just thought there was this epiphany thing, this great thing that was finally going to help and save a lot of people. Still feel that way, but can't this is why you can't have nice things, right? I mean, somebody inevitably wants their hand in the pot, or have some logical gain for themselves to come out.
I'm sorry, the damn dog farted the first time right next to me, and
I knew exactly what you were doing.
It's freaking killing me.
Yeah, those are some of the worst.
Christ.
But I mean, and I won't drag it out in terms of commentary. I think the point that I was trying to get to was that I think the vaping industry has always been willing to sit down with anybody who has questions about it and say, look, we're all we're looking for is reasonable regulation. We're willing to give and take to some degree, but you got to hear our side. And I think that
nobody will.
We were a bit naive.
Our kindness was taken for weakness. And that's kind of where it left.
Again, I mean, an industry that, you basically, this is what I remember back then, all the way back to 2012. If you had $10,000, you could have started one hell of a vaping company. And a lot of these guys did. They started out with about 5-10 grand. They started getting their product, the stuff they needed. They were marketing their stuff on Instagram, Facebook, and what other social media outlets that were out there. They started small, and next thing you know, they're huge distributors, going from making 300-400 bottles a week to 5,000-6,000 bottles a week.
Right.
And let's remember that 15 ml bottle used to be about $19, guys. So and if you remember, it didn't cost. Mallory knows it wasn't a lot of money for nicotine back then. It wasn't very expensive to get flavors. It wasn't VG and PG was cheap. So a 15 ml bottle, I'm going to just take a wild guess off the top of my head, maybe $1.50 to make.
Yeah. So and then you got to think about the salary for the one person who made all those bottles.
The one person. Yeah, exactly. And Tim's hit it on the head. We were just, I think, a young group of individuals that has started making a lot of money. And I think also a group of young people that trusted the government to be there for them. And I think that's where we got hurt. They trusted the government and that they would allow them to continue making this product and help people. And they realized that, like Michelle said, I agree with you 100%, Michelle. I think they were at least 10 steps ahead of us on that initial idea that they threw out there. I think it's like, here's the 2 carrots, which one do you want? And I think they already had a plan for one of those carrots and a plan for the next carrot. It was sad because when that all went down here in California, the T21 was also a thing. And I felt bad for at the vape shop that I was going to because they had one kid that was 19. that was one hell of a coil maker. And that's all, that was his job. He was getting paid $10, $12 an hour, sitting in that shop for 4 or 5 hours a day, making coils. And the other guy worked the register. And his knowledge on the liquids and the gear was just impressive. I mean, the kid knew every device that they had, every RDA, how to build it, all that stuff. And after that law passed, they both were out of jobs. They didn't have a job any longer. And I remember coming in there and asking where the boys were. And they're like, well, we had to let them go because the new law says we can't have anybody working in the shop that's under 21. So, and those two guys were gone. And it just started this chain reaction, for me. And I'm sure, I don't know how many times Tim in the early parts of the time was actually going into vape shops. I don't know how Michelle, but that was my source of devices. I would see it on YouTube. I would go over to the vape shop, see if they had it. If they didn't have it, Kanger was big back then. So I was, I want my Kanger tank. When are you guys getting them? Are they coming in? How much are they going to be? What device are you going to, supply coils? And just slowly as the weeks progressed after that law went through, I started noticing I didn't have a person to make me coils anymore. They weren't selling wire anymore. All the RDAs were gone. All the rebuildables disappeared. They weren't going to carry any more rebuildables because the law said they couldn't have rebuildables in their shop. It was a mess. And that's just the hardware side of it. For me, that shop, that was what do you call it? I forget what we used to call those, but they didn't have outside e-liquid. Everything was made there. So it was I forget what there's a name for those. Michelle, you remember what they're called? Those shops?
I used to call them vape bars.
Vape bars. Thank you. Yeah. Vape bars. Yeah. So, that was different because I didn't really
We still have those here in Florida.
Yeah.
We still have those.
Dude, Michelle, that book was like this thick. And you would sit there and it was an old bar, which made it even awesomer because it was an old bar and they still had the big long bar in there with the bar stool. So you would sit in there and they'd give you that little tip. You pay like $1 for it and you used it for every single flavor that they made was up there. And you would just take it, put your tip on there, taste it, boom, take it off, put it down, grab that book, look through it, look for the names and tell them what you wanted, how many milliliters. It was great. And it was a fun atmosphere. Yeah. Everybody's talking, everybody's having a good time in there, it was very well ventilated. It wasn't like I was walking into a cloud machine at a concert. I mean, it was, it was very well. For me, I wish that someone in the early days would have stepped up, an older individual that understood business, understood, law. And Tim, do you find it funny that like they didn't lawyer up right away?
No, well, that's what I was trying to say before is that I feel like there was just some naivety to it all. You know what I mean? I think it was an innocent naivety. I think everyone wholeheartedly in the industry and it was opening up shops, having the vape bars, spreading it around. And I just don't think that we ever thought that anyone would see this as a negative thing. You know what I mean? It was like, it was something that was way better for you than smoking. It was gonna save millions of people. And, and it unfortunately, the eyes from the outside were like, hey, what is this? You know what I mean? Something's wrong here. And it's chipping away at our stone. And so I don't think that any of us really thought we would be challenged. It would be like, okay, it's just going to be this new thing that shows up on the market and it's cool and it's great. And wow, we finally found a great alternative. So that's a great word, James. There was complacency going on right there. Maybe, probably should have crossed our T's and dotted our I's, and somebody should have been asking some questions like, hey, is there anything that we should worry about? I mean, this is a new product coming into the marketplace. I mean, you can't just throw anything into the marketplace, without it having some oversight, right?
Yeah.
So, how long was that freedom going to ring before, we really started getting scrutinized. And so
I remember the term, the wild, wild west of vaping. That's what we were considered. It's like, we're like the bandits. We're the bandits. We're the, I'm like, oh, we're so bad. It's like, and for me, it kind of all hit home when all of a sudden social media started picking up the pace when it came to vaping. And it started with Facebook, the hammering of Facebook. Like, okay, no more vape talk on Facebook. You want to do your vape, you have to have a group, get in your group. You can't sell. I mean, how many pages you remember that were just dedicated for their e-liquid to sell? It was crazy. It was a different page.
Well, I mean, I think we know where the scales started to tip, and it was just a matter of it being an inevitability, and that was that eventually this would trickle down to the kids. And I think that's where the wolves hanging out in the woods were like, aha, we've got the angle right now. Now the kids are messing with it, and this is exactly the open door that we need. If kids hadn't found interest in it, I mean, think about it though. I mean, there was too many kind of forbidden fruit things going on. It was like, okay, well, throw out the blue cigarette. I mean, nobody gave a shit then.
Nobody gave a shit.
Forget the Kanger tanks and the ego twists and all that stuff. Forget the CR2s. Forget the silica wick. Forget the early days of making your first coils with Canthol, and like forget all those days. It was when, to me, the tipping point was, and I don't know, my brain every time we talk about this always goes back to one specific video, and it was kind of like a hack video, right? It was these kids, these 20-somethings at a bar, and it was like a prank video, and the guy legit had like a USB thumb drive in his hand, and he's doing like a POV walking around going like, and going up to his drunk 20-something-year-old college friends or whatever and handing them the USB thumb drive, and they're all putting it in their mouth, and trying to vape it. And I think for me, that was kind of like the epiphany moment. Like it was at that moment I knew we were fucked. It was like, that's the thing that's going to end up with the kids. The kids are going to find that fun and interesting because there really were small little pod systems and things that were interesting. And then it gets worse after that. It balloons because now it's like, oh shit, here's this horrible thing, and the kids are going to get it. And like, the kids are like, what? I'm not supposed to have it. Yeah. Let me have it. And then to me, that was the tipping point. When I saw that video, I was like, I could give a crap about the cloud comps. I mean, the kids aren't going to be at the vape shop doing cloud comps. You know what I mean? So anyway, for me, that was the trick.
Well, I mean, it took them a while to get to the kid part, and of course we all know why. The sales of it and how it increased in from a $100,000 industry to $1 million industry to $1 billion industry, and that's when the kid aspect came in. But in the earlier stages of it, I remember they went after the hardware, and it was the batteries, and it was, this is going to blow up in your face, this is going to blow up in your pocket. They went that route first, and it was great that we had people like Mooch that was out there explaining, Ohm's law, and explaining, there are a select group of vapors out there in the early stages. Yeah, they, let's be honest, that like to push the limits of your Sony battery.
Same thing with the car, though. A lot of guys love to fix up their car engines just to make it sound better or whatever.
Yeah,
so that's just human.
Great point. I mean, show me one guy that buys a car, a fast car, and then just leaves it just the way it is.
Right.
It doesn't happen. It's like, I know guys that buy brand new hot rods
Mhm.
you know, brand new Corvettes and brand new whatever. And it doesn't take them but a couple months down the road to go, you know what, maybe I get these rims, or maybe I get this exhaust put in it. Oh, how about a wrap? I'm going to get a wrap. Who cares? Yeah, great. I know I have a brand new paint job on her. Let's put a wrap on it. You know, that's the same thing would happen in vaping. I mean, yeah, sure. There were some individuals that, were pushing the limits, and there were some individuals, I believe, and we talked about this on the ZampleBox page, that weren't educated enough. And granted, I'm not going to put it all on them as well, because I think there was, don't attack me out there, but there were a few vape shops that should have said, hey, you can't use this with this. You can't use that with this. And I think that should have been more addressed in the earlier stages of vaping and helping people understand. Let's go, for instance, the mech mod. You know, that's where we had a lot of the issues, were the mech mods and the pins not long enough on the RDAs, and running into that issue. And that was a big issue in the early stages of vaping, until some of the manufacturers started producing some RDAs with longer pins, and making sure that I can, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the mods that have the don't have the pin switch on there. Tim, can you remember that name? I'm trying for Hybrids. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. And I think we had some issues, and I think not just social media, but legacy media picked up on that quickly. If there was a mod that blew up in a car, or a mod that vented in at a vape shop, boy, it was out there, and it made us everywhere look horrible. And it's like, oh, look at this, look what's going on. And but
I think some of that though was stemmed by other things that kind of came before it, with the Samsung phones catching fire and all these other things, and people started to become hyper focused on maybe the dangers of electronics and all that other stuff. But just like but it's hard to sit in the other corner and go, yeah, but you don't understand. He put that 18650 battery in his pocket, and it had 2 contact points. What do you think's going to happen with a lithium battery when you do that sort of stuff? But yeah, I mean, anything bad can go wrong when you're trying to mess around with stuff that you don't understand. Like you said, with the mech mods and all that stuff, running in series, depending on which way the batteries need to go, overheating, running your coils too low, not understanding Ohm's law. All those risks were out there, but I don't see those risks as being any more dangerous than getting in the car every morning and driving to work. I mean, shit happens even if you're the most careful person in the world. But they certainly don't let us behind a car without some kind of a license or an understanding of driving. But yeah, it was just kind of psycho. They were just looking for any little nugget.
Anything.
Yeah, any little nugget to exploit and go, see how dangerous these things are. It's like there's millions of vapors that happen to one dude, out of 300 million people, one dude gets injured by a vape, and you act like everyone's got a 18650 in their pocket all day long.
Well, look what they did with Diwali too. I mean, by the time Diwali hit, it was perfect timing for the governments, for the NGOs,
Oh, absolutely.
And they just took it and ran with it,
Yeah. And again, a young industry, young people in their early 20s, all of a sudden with a large cash flow, and then let's not forget in the early stages, with any other industry or business, competition, and you want to be better than the other guy, and you don't want to support the other guy. The distributors don't want to support the manufacturers. The manufacturers don't want to support the vape shops. These laws and regulations apply to one group, and it's just like, oh well, we'll take this, but the vape shop should get penalized. And it was a mess. It was just like everyone, just the manufacturers, the distributors, and the vape shops were all fighting each other for legislation, like, oh no, we can't have that, it's going to screw us. So instead of just sitting down at the table trying to figure out what was going to work best for all three facets of that industry. And I think that's the difference between most companies or most new products or that come out. And there's logistics, right? It's a whole thing about logistics, and it's just trying to figure out what works for the manufacturer, what works for the distributors, and what works for the vendors. And I think we didn't have that in the beginning. I think those three groups were fighting each other. And then you had the independents, the guys that were, using Facebook, using Instagram to sell products that they were making at home. And that industry, part of that industry upset some of the manufacturers, like, well, they're getting away with doing it their way at home and, not in a safe room and not having this and not OSHA certified, and everyone just fighting each other. And it was sad to see. And it was just like, it went from all of us together trying to put a product out there that we knew was going to help people, get over smoking cigarettes, to all of a sudden it became like, well, this is going to cost me money. That's going to cost me money. I can't do it. Instead of just, like I said, just sitting down and trying to work out something between those three important factors of any business, it pissed me off.
Well, right. I think it was frustrating to go through a big time period where, within the industry, we were distracted by our own infighting, you know what I mean? Rather than focusing on protecting ourselves and protecting the interest of everybody who has a stake in the claim at being a vape supplier, and realistically, there were a lot of people out there who were trying to just take advantage of an opportunity and bankrolling, and they didn't really care in the long run, which I think overshadows many times the honest people who are out there doing it for all the right reasons. But yeah, that was difficult. We were all fighting. The online retailers are fighting with the brick and mortar suppliers. We're all bitching and moaning. People that are making their mods here in the USA versus all the clones that were coming out of China. And it's like we're all focused on fighting one another, and then even the early on advocacy groups fighting against each other. Everybody wanting to be the one to lead the charge and all of that, and that that kind of, I think, skewed our ability to stay organized and things like that. I mean, we have had those moments where we've been all been able to kind of pull together at one collective moment and make a loud noise about it, and that may have been something that's allowed us to stay alive this long. So thank goodness for that. I mean, when your back's against the wall, everybody finds a way to pull together. And then I feel like we should have been a little bit more self-vigilant as an industry. I think, we should have, I don't want to get into I don't really have an issue so much with the devices that you could maybe questionably say kids may have been a bit more attracted to, things that look like game controllers and collectible items, like, stuffed characters and things like that. I think adults can enjoy that stuff too. So I think it's unfair to specifically say that those things really were intentionally marketed towards kids. I got I'm 56, and I sit there on TikTok and I see a spinner toy and I'm like, oh, that's pretty freaking cool.
I want that. Yeah,
I want that. And it's like, and I'm sure 80% of my friends would be like, dude, you need to fucking grow up, like, and it's not, I mean, it appeals to all different facets, but I mean, I think it did get a little ludicrous, coming out with the vape hoodie and, all these other things that were just sort of gimmicky kind of things to get somebody to spend their money and stuff like that. And I think people who, it's not so much that we really care, like, oh, like, I'm not going to buy a vape hoodie. Like, that's the last thing I ever want to buy. But somebody from the outside looking in is like, look at this circus, look at this absolute circus of shit that goes on. You got SpongeBob vape devices and vape hoodies, and it's kind of turning into a concession store at a baseball game,
Yes, Clemens, I am using a disposable because I have to rebuild my where is it? I had it in my hand. I was actually playing with it. I had to put it in the cleaner. I'm gonna go back to, I don't know if anybody remembers the Alpine
Right,
RTA. Yeah.
RTA.
Yeah, RTA. Yes, RTA. Yeah, I'm rebuilding that, but I have to make a coil. And where is it? My wire's somewhere over here. And I don't want to use these cheap ass wires, so I'm going to make my own coil. So there you go, Cocaine Clemens. That's why I'm using a disposable right now. And plus I got a Band-Aid on my finger, and it makes it very difficult to wrap a coil when you have a Band-Aid on your
That's what you get, John, for sticking your fingers into Hostess cupcakes at the community.
If I told you how I burned it, you will laugh, because my daughter got me these new pots, right, from Amazon, and the handles come off of them. I don't know if you've seen them. And
I've seen them
you can swap
clasping
them, right?
handle.
Yeah. So I took the handle off because you can't put a lid on it with the handle. Right. So I took the handle off, and I had a lid on it, and it was setting aside, and automatically your brain looks at that and thinks it's a bowl that you can pick up because it's all pretty and it's still brand new. So it looks, so I go to grab this thing, and I put my, like this, and I just on the hottest part of the damn pot, frying pan, and I burned my thumb. So that's why there's a Band-Aid on there. 80 Clapton. No, I am not going to put. I am actually. What do I put in this one? I think I stay at like. I think I stay at like at a 5. I think.
Yeah, I roll with 6 milligrams.
Yeah, I think so. I think I usually stay around that 0.5. So it's a happy medium with 3 and 6 milligram Nick. So.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the story of our industry. Because we just shared our thoughts on the story.
And here we are.
And here we are. We're in the silent part. I think it's going to get even more silent, even more quieter here. The reason I say that is because, for shits and giggles last night, when I was trying to look up some articles and stuff, I said, let me go to legacy media. So I went ABC, CBS, and what's the other one? ABC, CBS, and NBC. And I went to see what they had on vaping, and everything was from early 2023, 2022, a few articles from 2024, but nothing new, other than the Supreme Court hearing and the way the judges voted. So I was like, okay. There's nothing out there. There's really nothing out there except for the one that we're sharing today on the show that Tim is going to talk about, which it sounds like it's going to be a killer for the Arkansas Registry there. It's an article from Jim McDonald. Do you have the link, Timmy?
Yeah, I already have it up. I can share it.
Yeah, you can go ahead and share it, Tim.
All right. Well, I think this is one thing that we kind of feared. It's the one thing that we were like, really sort of puts the stamp on. Let's turn you into a purebred criminal, right? A possession ban. It's like now it's one thing to say I can't get it in my state or my city or something like that. But now you're looking at a personal possession ban. So, I mean,
it's in the whole state, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and then all I hear is the bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? What was that?
I don't know the other part of that song, and I don't think Tim knows it either.
Yeah. I don't. It's a reggae song. I don't listen to reggae very often. So. From Jim McDonald, Arkansas registry law includes U.S. personal possession ban. Because I mean, all those vape junkies on the street corner living in tents.
Yeah, baby.
pushing their shopping carts around. It's really
shopping
really
carts
bad
full
news.
of disposable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Arkansas became the 12th U.S. state to pass a PMTA registry law when Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signed Senate Bill 252 into law on Monday. The law is believed to be just the second in the United States to ban personal possession of some, not all, but some vaping products by individuals. Like other PMTA registry laws, Arkansas was originally created and promoted in the state legislature by tobacco industry lobbyists working for either Altria or R.J. Reynolds. Vape industry groups managed to mitigate some of the damage, allowing some open system products to remain exempt from restrictions. The Arkansas directory requirements are unclear regarding e-liquids. Like all PMTA registry bills, Arkansas Act 590 establishes a list called a directory in this case of vaping products that can be legally sold in the state. Manufacturers must apply to have products included on the list, pay a fee for each product or family of products, and certify under penalty or of perjury that each product submitted meets the requirements for inclusion. Requirements for listing in the Arkansas directory are must have been on the U.S. market as of August 8th, 2016.
They always go back to that date, Michelle. Always go back to that date.
Thank God for Jam Monster. Manufacturer must have filed a pre-market tobacco application with the FDA by September 8th, 2020. Product must have either received FDA marketing authorization or still be under review by the FDA, or have received a marketing denial order, but the MDO has been stayed by a federal court order or by the FDA themselves. Since no modern disposable vape was on the market in 2016, the law effectively bans all of the hated and very popular illegal Chinese disposable vapes. It also bans most products made with synthetic nicotine, since very few had PMTAs submitted by 2020. One section of the law appears to exempt bottled e-liquids from the PMTA requirements, and state industry advocates can certainly believe they are exempted. But whether that was the legislature's intention, it appears to be contradicted by other elements of the law. Ideally, the director of Arkansas Tobacco Control, which enforces the law, will issue guidance on the question of bottled e-liquids. The Arkansas law definitely exempts open system devices with replaceable batteries that are sold without e-liquid. So manufacturers of traditional vape mods and other devices with removable batteries are not required to register them. But devices with built-in batteries like refillable pod systems fall under the PMTA requirements. I mean, that's such a dagger in a lot of ways. So what does this mean? So vape device makers start going back to making it so that the tank comes out and you can refill it. I mean, everyone goes towards convenience, right? So, but I don't, to be honest, I mean, I can't outside of the disposables. Now, theoretically, that one might be able to get around it. I mean, because technically the battery, you know what I mean? Like, if Fogger was smart, they'd make something like this that you can refill. Do you know what I mean?
But you have to go back to, didn't it say you had to go back to whatever date that was?
They may not have had anything. They didn't have a PMTA before.
I mean,
2020.
even though they're saying here that open devices are basically okay, how many were actually here that people still have from that era? I mean, they don't even make the ones that they were making back then.
Nope. No, because
so what does that leave us with?
We and technology hasn't moved forward. It's just like, okay, that didn't work. Version 2.6, came out. It's
right. Yeah, I mean, but I think this also goes kind of back to things that we've said over a long period of time with regard to vaping. And as much as a lot of us are old crony types, who kind of went through the open system iterations. We've always said, hey, before you hang your hat squarely on disposables and convenience devices and things like that, like you really should take an inward look at some of the open systems that are out there, or at least position yourself to be able to kind of know how to work with some of the open systems and tanks. Now, we do have a lot of open systems that are convenience based, right? I mean, you got like the Griffin and all these other Valerian and all these devices, smoke products that came out with tanks that were refillable. Buy new coils, pop them in, you're on your way, that kind of stuff. So I mean, I don't think people are predominantly SOL in this particular case, but how do you disseminate this information? So I mean, I don't know. The Arkansas, did I read that already? The Arkansas law definitely exempts open system devices with replaceable batteries that are sold without e-liquid. So manufacturers of traditional vape mods and other devices with removable batteries are not required to register them, but devices with built-in batteries like refillable pod systems fall under the PMTA requirements. Products must be submitted for inclusion in the directory by September 1st, 2025, and sales of non-listed products are not allowed after that date. Enforcement will begin after the directory is published on or after November 1st by the Director of Arkansas Tobacco Control. Retailers, wholesalers, and manufacturers can face legal penalties for violating any part of the act, including fines and seizure of products. Arkansas Tobacco Control is empowered to inspect facilities, investigate, and charge violators. The law also imposes packaging requirements that supposedly outlaw products with child appealing characteristics. Well, I went from 0-0 to Caps 2 Montreal 1, folks. Just giving you an update. For example, labels and advertising materials cannot contain images or words that replicate those of breakfast cereals, cookies, juice drinks, soft drinks, frozen drinks, ice creams, sorbets, sherbets, and frozen pops. I know everybody wants to say sherbet.
Sherbet.
Well, this is the Chardet. What's that phenomena called?
When you think you saw something, but it wasn't there. It's named after the dictator, not dictator, but that Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect, right? So
I almost said dictator. He wasn't a dictator.
Right. So just understand that sherbet has never had an R at the end of it. So just and frozen pop. So all things adults love, we can't have that stuff on the bottles.
Denied.
As a matter of fact, I was looking at something popped up. I think I got an ad for some vape store or something like that. I noticed that Coastal Clouds is still putting out e-liquid, and they have very much genericized their bottles now.
Yeah,
like it's a white label in only black font. It just says Coastal Clouds with their logo, so it's not very flashy. There's no color or any kind of highlighting going on, and the name of the juice is on there. Now it does still have names, like strawberry, watermelon, or something like that. It says that, but it looks to me like they're at least trying to make an attempt at making their product.
It's going back to the generic look where it's just a white box that says milk.
But
that says cereal.
We've had enough time. We've had enough time in this game up to this point to know what stuff we like, what stuff we don't like, what manufacturers we like, what flavors in their line we really dig.
But only some of us do have. There's a lot of newbies out there who's only used to disposables, and they're very basic.
Where's my hug?
I mean, it's very basic on what they say that they have. But like me,
my grandson,
I want to
say hi to the world, grandson.
Hi.
Going baseball practice?
No, I'm going to The batting cages at Funworks.
All right.
But when I have coffee,
So
I
make
want
me
to know,
proud.
is it what kind of coffee is it? Does it
Yeah.
have, caramel in it? Does it,
Well,
is it
that's
mocha?
true.
Is
Yeah.
it,
But here's how I would, here's how I would see that. I mean, just because the bottle doesn't say it on the bottle or
Yeah.
like really highlight that doesn't mean that a descriptor can't give you some inkling. I mean, because the reality is taste is ultimately subjective. So
Right.
something can sound amazingly
Amazing, yeah.
wonderful in the way they kind of paint it up online. You'd be like, this amazing blast of fruit freshness with just a dash of ice
Damn, Tim should have been in
keep your
advertising.
taste buds tingling all day long. You know what I mean? It's marketing, right? They're going to
Yeah.
try to make you think
Yeah,
it's
not right. Tim, not everybody loves mango like us two.
No, exactly.
You know?
There are a lot of people who just
John is right.
flat out reject it, like like people love to say that it tastes like a
Mango
dirty
haters.
sock, and I beg to differ on that one.
Yeah.
I've eaten real mangoes, so
Well,
I vape vape mango too.
Well, it's for me, it's like I start in my mind when I see things like this, I go back to other advertising and how much they have gotten away with what they do as far as their products. And for instance,
Right.
just take beer commercials, for instance. I mean, skateboards, running around, on their bikes. I mean, to me, it's just like, okay, if you're going to give some leeway to other industries to put out certain commercials, certain labels, certain looks to their stuff, let's take Mexican beer, for instance, that has tomato juice in it. Okay. I mean, okay, that's okay to advertise that you have, a tomato flavored beer. And, is tomatoes, I don't know, is that appealing to kids? I don't know. Kids might try it because it's just like, hey, a beer with tomato juice in it, maybe I'll try it. Or a beer with lime and lemon in it, maybe I'll try it, So for me, it's just, if you're going to do that sort of requirements, to other industries and let them get away with certain ways they advertise or way their labels look or the way they package their stuff, then maybe, give us a little leeway. We don't, Michelle's right. I mean, if a newbie grabs a bottle and it's just a plain white label and it just says, let's use some of these funky names that we got. Give me a funky e-liquid name. That has nothing to do with
tie-dye.
Yeah, that actually has nothing to do with actually what's in there. So what I mean?
Upside down pineapple face is one that I used to like.
Yeah, you kind of get a just idea what's in there. But there are some names that are on bottles that have, if you read it, you wouldn't have no idea that there's mango in it. There was, pineapple in it. There was, whatever in it.
Pony Express and whatever.
So for a newbie, grabbing a plain white bottle that just says the name of this e-liquid and then just this huge goddamn warning label on the bottom of it with no description or a picture of an orange or a picture of a mango, you're not going to know. And I don't think it's fair to do that to one industry and not the other. I mean, if you're going to let alcohol companies and whiskey brands and beer brands and God forbid some of the goddamn Viagra commercials. I mean, give me a friggin' break. You can get away with all this nonsense in the way you advertise your products, but God forbid if we got a picture of an orange or a picture of a mango or a bowl of cereal on our labels. It just doesn't make sense to me. That's the end of my rant. I will step off my soapbox now.
I mean, no, that's okay. I mean, if it does get to that point, unfortunately, I think it's just kind of go back to the old days where it's like you might have to take some chances. You might just have to buy it and see exactly, like whether you like it or not. I don't know. I mean, if this kind of stuff is going on, well, then, you got to imagine that people are going to have to dial it back in some way, shape, or form.
I think about it as far as like THC products and nothing against that. Whatever you want to do is fine with me. I'm one of those people. But then again, I hear, these stories about Skittles and how it looks like it's a Skittle, and that kind of stuff. And you look at the packaging and then you look at the real
that's gone
stuff,
too far.
That's too far. And if our stuff went that far, I mean, pull it, I mean, if it's that close, pull it, make them go away,
Yeah,
but,
there was a few, Michelle, spot on, Michelle. There was a few that, the Skittles was one of them. The other, I don't remember the name of that other liquid company that looked like the juice boxes.
Right.
Take
care of it.
Yeah, that to me, and I'm not trying to shit on those companies, but I know a lot of groups, the advocacy groups, went after these individuals to get their labels changed, and they were boycotting these brands. And to me, when you're doing that sort of advertising of your product, to me, I believe you're not doing it for the legitimate reasons the rest of us are doing it for. You're doing it for profit.
For something like a vape juice to have a picture of an ice cream sundae on it, if it's only sold to a company or to people who have to be 21 in order to enter the store, I mean, come on, you're taking away what we used to have as safeguards. And we could market to adults only without issues. And now you're saying you can't have that, but you can't put a picture of it because where are you going to let us market it anyway? They're still under 21. So I mean, they're pushing us from all angles, and there's nowhere for us to go.
They are treating us now like the children that they're worried about. It's like, well, wait a minute here, to me, that makes me laugh because it's like when you see some city council meetings, if you ever been to them, they always have coffee in front of them and it makes me laugh. They're all Starbucks cups, and my mind is, this is how my mind is working. I'm thinking to myself, that's not a regular coffee. I know that's not a regular coffee. I know that's a frappuccino or mocha. Your flavors are important. It doesn't matter how old you are up there as a city councilman. If you're going to sit there and tell me I shouldn't have a mocha vape, but yet it's okay for you to go to the Starbucks and get yourself a mocha frappuccino or get yourself a mocha latte or get yourself any other one of those damn drinks that have all the flavor. I'm willing to bet if there are 9 of them up there, I'm willing to bet of those 9, maybe 1 or 2 of them is actually drinking a black coffee, straight black coffee, maybe 2 sugars. The rest of them is some foo-foo drink. It's always some foo-foo drink.
It's like this. I don't know I don't know how many people actually saw my post, but I posted a link with it for the Senate candy desk, on where it was and the whole bit. And it's like, come on, you guys are telling people, adult people who use this to stay alive, that you can't have flavors because it's ridiculous that an adult would want what do they like to call it, the lollipop or whatever it is they like to, and here they are with a candy desk, and you'll watch if the camera gets on them. There's that area is busy, I mean, there's not just a guy gets into it every now and then. No, I mean, there's like a line, and people are all over there. So it's like, come on, if you can have Michelle. It, I want it,
And what makes me laugh, even funnier than that, all that is the fact that look at all your medicines, look at all your cough syrups.
Right.
What are they? They're not just generic flavors. We like flavors. I have a hard time taking a Diamond Tap or Robitussin that doesn't have at least a cherry flavor. I can't put it down. And most adults want their medicine to taste like something other than that nasty chemical that
we're putting in. A lot of them are coming in. I'm sorry, but a lot of them are coming in gummies now.
Yeah. Because they know the older we get, the harder it is for us to chew shit.
But they don't understand disposables for an old person. Come on.
That makes me laugh. You start looking around, and you start looking around, you see just step outside, and it's not us, because everybody in the chat and us stuff's here. We all know how important flavors are, period. Not just in vaping, but just in general, just the products that we choose to buy every day. We buy these products because we enjoy what flavors they are. You buy, there are people that will, this is the funniest one, but there are people that will have complete 25-minute arguments over Twizzlers or real licorice. And I'm just like, are you serious? Oh, it's like a full-blown argument on what is the better licorice is, and then the argument that licorice, what do you call it, is not licorice. Licorice is. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is how passionate we are when it comes to candy flavors. We're adults. We want stuff that tastes good. We don't go into a restaurant and say, give me a steak with no salt, no pepper, no seasonings whatsoever. There might be a few people that like it that way, but I can bet you I want some salt and pepper on my steak. I want some flavor. It's nuts to think that, we've gotten to this point that's like, now actually that has again become the number one, fight for them, because they see the kids' numbers dwindling, and when it comes to vaping and smoking, so that one's out the window. So they're just kind of going back to flavors again, and it's just like, well, I think you're choosing the wrong path. You see exactly what. See there. You see, I'm going to start a fight in the chat over Twizzlers and real licorice. I'm not kidding. Microwave. I watched two people argue for 25 minutes over those two things. Which one is real licorice and which one isn't? And it's like, Twizzler's not real licorice. I'm like, okay, relax, guys. Have a drink. Take it easy.
Yep.
It's insane. It's insane.
It gets silly.
What are you going to do? I mean, that's and I think with the current status of things here in the United States, I don't think I'm going to change my opinion on when I think Trump even battles this issue. I think it may be 3 years down the road. If the way things are going with the rest, I don't want to get political, but with all the rest of the nonsense that's going on right now with tariffs and all this other stuff, I don't think vaping comes into his wheelhouse for quite some time. I really don't.
That could very well be, but I think we've said time and time again, you gotta, that may be a big factor, the federal level, but it's the states that are really wreaking, that are wreaking the most havoc for vapors across the U.S. And that's where I think we have the ability to maybe impact things a little bit more directly, or be able to fight. But moving on from that, apparently we can't have other shit too. So they can't depict characters or symbols that are known to a reasonable person. Children are so unreasonable.
Did I take that? Yeah. Is that up? Did I take it down? I need to put that back up, Tim.
What's that?
Do I need to put that? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
We're not done. We're not done yet, John.
I apologize.
I haven't even gotten to the possession part of the article.
Okay, got it.
They can't depict characters or symbols that are known to a reasonable person to appeal primarily to or are commonly associated with children or minors, including without limitation. Here we go. Here's the list, folks. Yeah. Superheroes. So no Silver Surfer on no Silver Surfer on your vape. Yeah. Cartoons or cartoon characters. So no Woody Woodpecker or Bugs Bunny on your vape liquids. Anime characters. Pikachu. That's the only one I can think of. No Pikachus. Yeah. Comic book characters. Video game characters. Television show characters, movie characters.
I love the next one.
Mythical
characters.
Yeah, mythical creatures. Like don't have a griffin or a centaur, centaur
the next on your bottles. The next one's the
or
best.
Unicorns. Or unicorns, maybe. Am I, Jim? We love you, but don't unicorns fall into the mythical creature category?
I think they do. I think they
would. Yeah.
I think he just needed to differentiate that because there was an e-liquid called unicorn poop or something like that. So he needed to make a note of that one. And of course, any reference to candy, cakes, pastries, or pies is prohibited because kids like cakes.
Oh yeah.
And no more fun
too.
either.
Not
and
at
no
all.
more
too.
Yeah. No, we don't know, Michelle. We don't like cake. Come on.
No. This
Cake.
is
Look at
this is my
Tim,
lemon.
somebody scored because Tim focus went on.
No, I just looked up.
But this is my lemon meringue pie.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I have to have it.
yeah. We will notice the difference in Tim's attitude as the game progresses.
Yeah.
We had 7 minutes and 31 seconds in the second period. Scored game is still 2 Washington, 1 Montreal.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the one that's kind of the saddening part.
Yeah.
Arkansas registry law bans personal possession.
Yep.
So Act 590 prohibits personal possession and importation of products that don't meet state standards if the person in possession knows they are illegal.
Yeah.
The Arkansas registry law is believed to be just the second vaping law that bans personal possession in the United States. The 2023 Louisiana PMTA registry law also prohibits the possession of products not on the state's registry. So what is a cop rolling around with a little list in his pocket?
Oh, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you.
Vaping product possession bans are almost unheard of in liberal Western democracies, which makes the Arkansas law noteworthy. Some countries that prohibit personal possession of vaping products include North Korea, Qatar, Singapore, and Venezuela. As in Louisiana, there is no mechanism created to enforce the ban on individual possession, but the law provides for fines and seizure of products if confiscated. Local police do not have the power to initiate investigations, but that doesn't mean they won't overstep their authority and arrest someone carrying a flashy disposable.
I can see it going down now.
This is ridiculous.
I can see it going down now.
Legitimate enforcement actions might be triggered, however, if the director of Arkansas Tobacco Control were to conduct an investigation of illegal online sales. And then we get into more on the red.
That's the part I don't get. If they're going this far, are they going to leave open internet sales? Or is products still going to be able to be delivered into that state? Like ZampleBox, we had a few cities and a few states where the boxes weren't allowed to come in. Some that banned e-liquid, but yet we're still allowing, online sales. So if you're going to have this type of possession law in effect, you would almost have to block internet sales completely. Yeah. Because otherwise, what are you going to do? You're going to, you're going to go after everyone that gets an order delivered. You're going to be at their doorstep. What's going to happen here? Because they'll know who's getting an order. It's coming from from a vape shop or from a distributor. So for me, this makes no sense how they're going to go about this. Yeah, if you're going
Mostly.
if you're going to, most of the time, if you're going to have a law banning possession, then you'd almost have to block. Yeah.
It just, to me, this is where it kind of gets silly, right? Yeah. I mean, so what? So this is where you're going to see more of the videos online of confrontations with cops, right? Yeah. Because somebody's got a vape. It says that the cops can't initiate investigations, but they can seize and confiscate the product from you. I mean, we already see what goes on in normal everyday situations where people unfortunately resist, and then you get into these crazy things. So wait for the stuff to come out online, with a video where something bad happened because somebody didn't want their vape taken from them or something like that, or something bad happened because over a vape, over dumb stuff, over the dumbest of things. Hopefully you know, there are some.
So yeah, I was kind of curious because we all know that vaping is, you know, can be many things, many other things than e-liquid. So I was checking to see what the laws are in Arkansas for THC, because how's a cop know? Right? If you're allowed to have THC in Arkansas, and a cop says, "Hey, I'm going to take your vape device away from you," what's to say that individual says, "Hey, this is THC"? So I was checking to see, is this THCA is legal in Arkansas,
I think if you've
providing
got a
that
device like that, though, I mean, dare I say it, there's a smell about it. You know what I mean?
exactly. But
Yeah.
you think the cop's going to know that? You think he's educated in that sense of knowing the difference between the two products? I doubt it.
Not on a visual, but I mean, I think that's, I mean, but isn't that where it can be, it crosses a line, you know? It's like, look, I don't have time to determine whether or not it's this or it's that, so I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna take it.
Because Arkansas is cool with THC as long as it's 0.3% THC at the time of sale.
Right, but they also don't have the ability to measure anything. You
No,
know what I mean, they're not
exactly.
They're not going to be doing, you know, percentage tests on the hood of their car and stuff like that. I just, you know, it is kind of ridiculous. I just don't think, you know, anybody's got the patience for it. My guess is that in most cases, they're going to let a lot of that stuff slide. The people that are going to get it taken are the people causing looking people that already have their attention to begin with, and they're going to have them up on the car, and they're going to empty their pockets, and they're going to take all. They're going to be like, "Well, you got a vape in there. We're taking that." You know what I mean? I don't think that they're going to just run down the street and jack some adult up against the wall because they pulled their disposable out and vaped it or something like that. So,
Arkansas. I'm trying to think. That's Bill Clinton territory, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah. I was in my head. I was like, "Who's from Arkansas, John?" I know there's people from Arkansas. I know people live there. Arkansas is also the home of Walmart, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on, Walmart people. Come on, Walmart.
And of course, you've got the hogs. You know, the Arkansas hogs.
That microwave brings
pigs. I'm sorry, suey pigs. Yeah.
That's so funny you even brought that up, microwave, because my wife is addicted to the series Breaking Bad right now.
Yeah,
that's like her show. So I don't know. I may end up being the next Walter White or whatever.
I can see it.
I can see it. Be the kingpin vape manufacturer in a lab underneath of a laundromat, you know,
in Georgia.
Exactly. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if it's all blue. What was that e-liquid what was that crappy e-liquid that was all blue? Looked like comb water.
Yeah,
who made that blue liquid?
I can see Tim at one of his e-liquid meetings, you know, with the criminal element, and Tim saying, "Say my name. Say it. Say my name."
Heisenberg. That's right. Heisenberg. That stuff was straight freaking petrol garbage. I don't know why everybody got on that kick. No offense to people that dug it. I did get that one. I tried it too. I was not a fan. A fan. It was like pure raw menthol in that. And then, but I did do. They had another one that was like an apple something. It was like a green apple one. I actually really liked that one. I don't remember the name of that one, but I like that way better than the comb water that was Heisenberg. So far this year, about 20 states have introduced PMTA registry bills, which, by the way, Georgia is one of them.
Yes, it is.
I have been spending, since I've been having to go and pick up some localized products for myself. I did go into Exhale City, and I've been very vocal about, you know, telling them, hey, you know, keep your eyes on this one. I'm pretty sure these people don't really give a flying F, but just because they work in a chain store mechanism, and they're just there managing the store. As a matter of fact, the last girl I talked to last time I went in to buy a couple tanks or whatever, she didn't even know what the hell I was talking about. She hadn't even heard about it. And I, for people like that, they're not trying to protect the brand Exhale City. They're just working a job. So I don't expect them to really follow along, but I tried to say, hey, look, if this registry bill comes through here in Georgia, you could see everything on this wall pretty much go away. So just know that,
including your job.
Well, right. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, now they are a bit of a CBD THC Delta store, so they've got other products on the back side of the store that will certainly keep them in business
afloat.
And like I said, you go in there. There's the only thing on the wall in there is disposables. There's no smoke devices or anything. So far this year, about 20 states have introduced PMTA registry bills. The first two pass in 2025 was Mississippi's law, which was signed by the governor in March. The Consumer Advocates for Smoke-Free Alternatives Association has issued calls to action in several states so far this year, providing a simple way for consumers to oppose registry bills in their state. You can find all active CASA calls to action here. Aside from as a matter of fact, I think tomorrow, I'm not going to do it tonight once the show ends, but I think I'm going to go find, I think maybe Exhale City has a local FB page, maybe for that shop. And I'm going to start hammering them with the CASA thing and the bill HB 1260. Aside from Mississippi and Arkansas, 10 other states have passed registry laws. Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, Louisiana, excuse me. Oklahoma and Utah have laws. Is it Louisiana?
It's Louisiana.
Right. I say Louisiana.
I say Louisiana. You're saying it wrong.
I say Louisiana, but don't people from Louisiana say Louisiana?
You straighten them out, Michelle. You straighten them out. Tim's always after me.
Those people are the ones who think they're somebody and aren't. Period. That's all it is. That's all it is. Everybody that grew up there says Louisiana. Sorry.
Okay, very good. So I will stick to my former mentioned Louisiana.
Thank you.
Oklahoma and Utah have laws in place.
Your breath stinks, dog. Get out of here. I'm sorry.
It's a puppy, man. Puppies have the best puppy breath. North Carolina's law takes effect May 1st, and the Virginia and Wisconsin registry laws become operational July 1. In Iowa, the law is on hold during a court challenge. So that's it. But yeah, that's kind of scary. I mean, it's crazy to think that there's a possession ban.
I was wondering when they were going to get to that. So it's pretty much the next level. I mean, there's nothing really else left for them to do. But I'll ask you guys: do you feel that this would be something that law enforcement would even care about enforcing?
Ultimately, I just feel like there's so many better things cops can do with their time than worry about some kids with vapes, or even adults with vapes.
An adult, not just a kid, an adult.
but if they can ticket you for it, right? What I'm saying is, if they can ticket you for it, who's to say there aren't a couple cops that decide to hang out in the downtown Maine, nightlife district area and just wait for people to walk by vaping and be like, sir, come over here. First of all, we need to take that from you. And then here's a ticket for $50 or $100.
Keep the fentanyl. Fentanyl's okay.
Exactly. We don't want your fentanyl, but we're taking your vape.
That vape, that'll kill you.
Just to drive county or state revenue. You know what I mean?
Hey, man. I got my what's the card called when you card carrying marijuana user? What is that card called?
Green card.
No, green card's residency.
Yeah, that's a residency.
No, not in Florida though. Florida is a
Oh, it's a green. Yeah. I got it's for my glaucoma. But no, we're gonna have to take
I see so many police officers, and
vape.
you'd be surprised how many of them vape. Exactly. I mean, they won't in their cars, and they try and be stealthy about it,
Yeah.
but I know what they're doing,
Yeah.
and I mean, I've even seen them right next to the courthouse.
Yeah, they won't
get
vape
behind
in their
van
car.
or something.
Yeah.
No, they'll get behind a van or something, but they're still vaping. So I mean, to them, they get it. They can feel the difference of vape vapes, So if they come across a 16-year-old, I think they'll take it. With good right, they shouldn't have it. But
I would rather have a cop that's not having a bad nicotine day.
Right.
I don't want that cop. I don't want to get pulled over by that cop that can't have a cigarette, can't vape, and he's having withdrawals, and he's in a badass mood, and he starts breaking taillights and breaking headlights and finding every little detail wrong with my car, and you were going 36 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. I'm giving you a ticket. It's like, whoa, what the hell? Here, hit this. Here, go. Here. I won't tell no one.
Well, Robert, that's kind of like, I think a lot of the shops have gone to these hybrid shops and stuff like that, and so they're, they keep the vapes in there for as long as they possibly can. But since most states are starting to get really lenient with the Delta products, CBD stuff, and things like that, I think they've, the people who own, like, if they aren't independent places and they're chain owned places like Exhale City and stuff like that, they, those are just bottom line dollars and cents people, and they're like, well, we got to get rid of the vapes and we can still keep the shisha and the CBD stuff. I'm sure they got plenty of people.
Tim, you didn't see anything in that said the pouches, right? Is the pouches are still
didn't mention nicotine products like that. They just basically, well, I mean, if
it's just liquid,
well, right. I mean, the way that it kind of addressed the whole thing was talking about the registry bill regarding products that were approved by the FDA or had marketing approvals. Marketing approvals to put that stuff on the shelf. That's the registry bill in and of itself. I mean, all these other people have to be able to fall under those other guidelines. And again, I'll read the three primary criteria, and that was must have been on the U.S. market as of August 8th, 2016. Manufacturer must have filed a pre-market tobacco application with the FDA by September 8th, 2020. Product must have either received FDA marketing authorization or still be under review by the FDA, or have received a marketing denial order, but the MDO has been stayed by a federal court order or by the FDA. So I don't think this covers pouches or anything like that. This seems to be centered around, because the Zyn pouches and all those things weren't on the market in 2016. I don't believe.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Maybe I'm going down the conspiracy wheel when it comes to nicotine, and I was kind of curious who was the largest manufacturer of nicotine, and it's China.
It always has been, I believe.
Yeah. Just nicotine itself, the product. Yeah, just the nicotine product itself. China is the largest manufacturer of that product, let alone. So I could see the push for the pouches. I know that's where everyone is going. And hey, look, I'm glad. I've been seeing a lot of people that in the last 15 years that have been big e-liquid users that have been pushing pouches. And hey, if it works, it works. I don't care what product you use as long as you're not smoking a cigarette. But if that's the road that we're going to end up with, I don't know if it's going to work for everybody. I don't know if
it wouldn't work for girls. I mean, most girls aren't going to do that.
I mean, I've seen the push. I've seen, like, my Facebook feed is full of people that I know have been in this industry for a long, long time pushing those pouches, those nicotine pouches. So when then I was kind of curious who was, I was hoping it was going to be a U.S. manufacturer that was producing nicotine, but it is China. It is China.
But now I think most of the pouches are now using, if I'm not mistaken, aren't they using the synthetic nicotine?
Might be.
I believe they
I
are.
have not really gone down
wrong.
the rabbit hole with the pouches, nor have I tried them yet. Have you guys tried any of them?
No.
You know.
Personally,
Yeah.
I would like to for the pool,
Yeah.
when I go in the pool area, because I can't vape in there.
Yeah.
You know, once I get in, I don't want to get out and get in and get out and get out.
Yeah.
I see the benefits for them, like Michelle's saying, in areas where you can't smoke, you're getting on a plane, a train, somewhere where you can't have a cigarette, in a car with the kids. Everybody knows that 4-hour drive with the kids, you need to pull over to have a cigarette. I know I did. Yeah. We would leave Modesto at 3 a.m. Between 2:30 and 3 a.m. to go to Disneyland, which is a 7-hour car ride for us from here to Disneyland. And I had my stops mapped out for like the last 10 years, where I knew I had to. It's like, okay, Chowchilla, stop. Have a cigarette. McDonald's there. Have a cup of coffee. Have a cigarette. Get back in the car. Boom. Bakersfield. Stop. Have another cup of coffee. Grab a couple cigarettes. Get back in the car. Boom. Get to LA. Get a cigarette. Yeah. So I mean, I could see the benefits, but like I said, I don't know if it. We all have different reasons why we smoke, whether it's stress related, and there's other reasons. We all have different reasons what helps us quit. Some of us need to have something in our hands. Some of us need to see the smoke. Some of us need that flavor. Some of us need the nicotine. Just the nicotine alone can get some of us by, but I don't know if that patch fits all of us. I mean, I still catch myself. I don't know about you two, but I still catch myself looking at what I blew out. That's still important to me for some reason, I don't know why. I mean, I shouldn't have to be doing that anymore, but I catch myself and then looking at it like, okay, that was enough. Like my mind is, okay, that was enough. That was enough smoke. Yeah.
That was a good one.
I tried a little thing, and I don't know if you guys have tried this, but I wanted to see if it was the smoke that I needed to see. So what I did is I went in my bedroom, I shut all my lights off, and I have blackout curtains in there because I work nights. And I tried vaping in there, and I was not satisfied.
Right.
I was not satisfied. I did not feel like I hit my vape. I didn't feel like I got what I needed from my vape because I wasn't seeing the vapor. And it's so friggin' weird. It is so friggin' weird. So I just wanted to see if I still got the satisfaction.
I do. Yeah.
Can you be in a pitch black room and hit your vape and not see the vapor and be satisfied?
It's funny because I always have a night light on in my bedroom so that I don't trip over my dog or something.
Yeah.
But so there's enough light, but I do find that I'll blow the vape towards that light. So towards I can see it better. Yeah, because if I don't, because I keep one there and I'm up 5 or 6, 7 times a night always. I mean, not out of bed, but I'll grab my vape and hit it once or twice. And if I just keep my eyes shut, grab it, vape it, put it back. It's like, no, that doesn't work, It's like I don't get anything,
Ghost inhales.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably an element of vaping that will never leave us. It became such a clouds thing for us. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost disappointing if like this little wisp of vapor comes out. I remember going back and looking at some old Twisted 420 videos, like way back in the day, when he was doing head-to-head battles. Like the old CR2s and stuff like that. And he'd take this long, huge hit on these little ego pen things, and it would just be like this little wisp of smoke would come out of his mouth. And it's like, I think we were on kind of a mission to sort of have that vapor experience, So I don't know. You take away the vapor element of it. I completely agree and understand that kind of happens the experience, right?
We all have different ways our brain needs to see that working. It's strange. Like I said, some of us need to see the vapor. Some of us could care less seeing the vapor. Some of us still need to have that, something going to our mouths and hand them out thing, and some of us just some of us are cool just getting the nicotine we need, could care less if it's, a 10-foot cloud or like Tim said, a little baby cloud, it doesn't matter. Just, I got the 6 milligrams of nicotine. I'm good to go, baby.
Yeah.
I've done that too, Robert, and it's not pleasant.
No, I used to get the hiccups. I would like when we used to get like the old sample boxes, you'd have all those, you'd have like a 20 box or whatever the most was. And you'd put like a little drop on your finger, just to taste it to see if it's something that you wanted to actually. I would get the hiccups.
Yeah.
Give me the hiccups.
I would always get like back in the early days. Remember, everyone was just so pumped and so amazed by the flavors that we were getting from e-liquid. And I remember people always like, no, you got to try this. Here, man, try this. And just before COVID, everybody was just handing mods to people. Yeah, hit this. Like everybody was just, and I'm like, now it's like, let me try that. No. Hold on, man. Hold on. I got you start carrying carrying extra drip tips. Here you go. Try it. Yeah. Before COVID. Yeah.
Right.
Then everybody, after COVID, it was just like Tim says. So they're like, hey, what's that? That smells amazing. Let me try it. I would do the same thing Tim says. I would just put like a little drop on their finger and they would look at me like, dude, is that okay to do? Am I going to die? Is this going to kill me? And I'm like, no, dude, if I just, it's not going to kill you, dude. You're going to get an idea exactly what it's going to taste like that way. And because I was there after COVID, I wasn't letting nobody touch my mod. And then you started thinking about all the people that you handed your mod to, like to hit off of. And all you did was wipe it off with your t-shirt. Yeah, hold on.
Well, there's lots of other things that we've handed off to our friends.
Yeah, that's
our
true.
Lifetime.
Puff, pass, yeah. And some of us forgot to pass. There was a lot of puff, but very few passing. Yeah, I had 2 or 3 of those friends, and they were always at the end. It's like, hey, man, where'd that thing go? I could say joint, but where'd that joint go? And it's still down there. And he's still puff.
Right.
Like, hey, it's puff, pass, guy.
Right. Oh, okay.
Oh, to be a teenager again.
Yes.
I'll be. I don't know about you two, but like I am scared shitless to try any of this new stuff. I have been warned that it's not what I smoked in the 80s. Nowhere near it. Nowhere as nothing like it. So I've
tried some of it, and I don't know if it's my age. I don't know if it's my pills. I don't know if it's my anxiety is gotten worse or what. But most of it is not for me.
Yeah. And then you got to know which strand you're using, because one's going to make you lay down, the other one's going to make you clean the house. I'm like, Jesus Christ,
dude.
It doesn't work
that way on me. It doesn't work that way on me. So I just never know what's going to hit me what. So
yeah, that's what I got asked the first time. I was like, hey, I was going to try some. I think it was with Tim and Jennifer on our other show. We used to do it together years ago, and we were going to do a 420 show. Remember, Tim? Yeah. And that was the thing. It was like both them, Jennifer and Tim, are like, well, what do you want from it? Do you want to end up flat on the ground, or do you want to get up and wash and clean the house and maybe clean the car? And I was like, Jesus Christ, man. And I just want to relax. Is there one that's just relaxed, not comatose?
Yeah. That would have been the first
Sativa would be that one.
Yeah, it's complicated. I had this one thing I posted on my Facebook page before we head on out of here, which I thought was really hilarious. So I want to share it with everybody here. And it was 420 related, and it just made me laugh because it was clever. Whoever put this together, I gotta find it here. I said I wouldn't become that dog person, but it seems like I post a picture of the dog every day, so I guess I'm becoming that dog person.
That's okay. We like dogs.
All right, where are you? Hold on, peoples. All right, there it is. I found it. This article made me laugh, and whoever put this together, brilliant. It made me laugh, and it made a lot of other people laugh. I thought it was hilarious. But it was this story is of this township. Someone found this old pipe, and it goes through the whole. I don't know if you can see it. I can barely see it. A group of local disc golfers made an expected.
I'll read it. You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead. You can see it.
Yeah, even with my shitty readers on.
Yeah.
Shelby Township, Michigan, a group of local disc golfers made what experts are calling a historic and culturally significant discovery this week at River Bends Park after unearthing a heavily weathered metal weed pipe believed to date back to the late 90s. Archaeologists rushed to the scene and confirmed the relic's age based on residue consistent with mid-grade pre-dispensary era bud and faint engravings that read 420 forever. Researchers note that during this era, users had to painstakingly remove seeds and stems from their weed before packing it into a pipe just like this. Often made from scavenged hardware or stolen dad tools, believed to have been lost during an early Limp Bizkit era bonfire, the pipe is being hailed as the oldest confirmed toker tool in Macomb County Park history. Plans are already in motion to place the relic in a glass case inside this Shelby Township Municipal Building, where it will be preserved as a symbol of local resilience, innovation, and really strong skunk weed.
You know what's funny is I've actually found one. I used to do a lot of metal detecting. I mean, hours of metal detecting, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And anyway, I have found one that looks a lot like that, and of course I kept it. You know, I haven't used it, but.
all I remember is that last part of that sentence is my dad yelling at us because his plumbing stuff would always be missing. He's like, I know I bought some copper tubing and all these fittings. And I'm like, I don't know, Dad. I didn't see it. That's where I learned how to weld copper to copper. And it was just, not weld, but solder. I learned that. It's like we were just making stuff like all the time. And then I remember the first smoke shop. It was in Livermore, California, and it was called Black Widow. It was the name of the shop, and that's where I bought my first sneak-a-toke. And those that know what a sneak-a-toke is, you can go from there. But yeah, that's where I bought my first one. But yeah, before that, we were making them. I'd look at my dad's little fittings, his plumbing fittings, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I can do that." Or we just used an empty Pepsi can and just poked a couple holes in it and
swished it a little bit.
But I thought that was funny seeing that. That's what it's going to be like, though, huh, Tim? They may 100, 200, maybe 1,000 years from now, some archaeologists are going to be digging some site and it's like, boom, look at this, a bong. What the hell? Elvis Presley bong of all things. Yeah. All right, guys, we are done because John's got to go to work. He's got to make dinner. He's got to make his lunch. And it is my Friday, and I'm going to enjoy it. Hopefully it goes by really quick. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will be back next Wednesday, hopefully with a full crew. Maybe Phillip. We don't know. Maybe Phillip. And we should have something, hopefully some good news floating around this week into next week. And we can go from there. Michelle, thank you very much. Mr. Tim.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. You can get back. Tim was happy through this whole thing. So Washington must be leading. And
still 2-1. Third period's about to start in 1 minute. So I got a chance to watch it isolated. So
Tim will be happy. We'll see his Facebook post after if they win. I'm sure he will post the victory on his Facebook page. So look forward to that. And everybody have a great rest of your week, great weekend, and we'll see everybody next Monday. So look into the camera, people.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.